Good morning, Mile High City. It is your brand new morning show. My name is SugaBear.
I'm LaMolly.
Yeah, and this is our Community Corner. This is where we feature and highlight people in and of the community giving back, serving this great community, activists, so on and so forth. We have some special guests today, 3 of them, in fact. Sade Cooper is here, Javon, Brame, and Katherine Casey. Welcome to all 3 of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
It means a lot that you are coming here. They are with Justice for Black Coloradans. This is an important cause. They have a lot of information to give you. So if you want to be involved and get active, they're going to speak about the inequities and the disparities faced by Black Coloradans. So we'll get into that. But I want to know a little bit about all of you. Who are you? How did you get here? What's the story? Talk to us a little bit. Sade.
Whoa. Well, hey, good morning. My name is Sade Cooper. I am the co-founder and CEO of Collaborative Healing Initiative within Communities, an organization built for Black women and Black youth. And we work in education, community policy, and reentry. And so this is why we're here, is what has birthed out a community. And so that's a little bit about me. I come from a finance background, hence why we'll be talking about an economic analysis.
Let's go.
In this bill. And I'm a Denver native, right? And so I grew up here, and there is no better way to give back. And so we are giving back through Justice for Black Coloradans in all the ways that we serve families and communities.
That has to feel good, being from here and being able to be and serve your community.
Yes.
Has to be like, that's the trophy right there.
Yes. And then I know a lot of people. So
Okay. So you know, okay.
No, yes.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. My name is Javon Brame. I'm also born and raised here in Colorado. I'm a 6th-generation Coloradan through my mother's lineage. And I always like to say I came from a good East Side family. Several generations of my family graduated from Manual High School. I grew up in Northeast Park Hill. Professionally, I work as a higher education consultant, but I'm so happy to be joining Chic in this work, moving forward education justice for Black Coloradans and justice for Black Coloradans. And so this work is passion work for me because it impacts my people, and I see it as work that impacts the next generation as well.
It's a beautiful thing. Okay, Katherine?
Hello. My name is Katherine Casey. I am Chief Strategy Officer with Collaborative Healing Initiative within Communities, better known as Chic. So excited to be here this morning. I have been in Denver for 10 years. I moved here. My background is in public education, so moved here to work for the Denver Public Schools. I got to know Sade at Stedman Elementary in 2017. Oh, yeah?
Nice.
Hers too.
That's awesome.
So got to know Sade at Stedman Elementary, was so inspired by what she was founding and building at Chic, and came on board in 2018.
Nice. Well, welcome again, all 3 of you. This is a beautiful thing that you guys are doing. So tell the people who are listening right now, and again, we're going to give you an opportunity to call in and or text us at 303-893-DROP. Justice for Black Coloradans. What exactly is that? Because I know there's a bill involved. Where do you begin? Because there's a lot, and there's a lot of layers here. What exactly, for our listeners, what is this?
Wow. Justice for Black Coloradans is a bill that we are moving through legislation, that we are asking the state of Colorado to look into the racial disparities and harms that have been predicated onto Black folks here. And so this bill will look into 5 areas, one being education, housing, healthcare, criminal justice system, and then us being able to do an economic analysis to see like what were the direct implications and then the monetary value of those harms. And so that is what Justice for Black Coloradans is the bill, which is Senate Bill 2453.
Wow. Okay, SB. Yeah, I see that right here. I have a lot of notes here. Okay, so you said criminal justice, policing, education, healthcare, health disparities. One is not more important than the other, right? They're all an integral part of what you guys are in the mission, correct? Can you want to speak to that?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. This work started in 2020 when we set out to launch Educational Justice for Black Coloradans, a reparations effort in higher education, and really came to see very quickly that our current legal system is not set up to allow any form of reparations. Took a look around the country to see who was doing this work and found and followed this pathway. And so we've expanded the work from the original scope around higher education to be inclusive of all of the systemic barriers and systemic inequities that prevent generational health and wealth.
Systemic barriers. That's an important phrase right there. For anyone out there listening who doesn't know exactly what reparations are, can you explain that to someone? Like, what if they're hearing that word? Like, what do you mean by reparations? Can you explain?
Absolutely. So, reparations are a path toward correcting or addressing some of the wrongs that have happened historically, specifically to the Black community in the context that we're speaking about it today. And I want to be clear that this is not necessarily a reparations bill, and we're looking at reparative capital.
Nice.
And how things are rectified from what's been done in the past. And so we're just looking to see, hey, what's happened, and what are some ways that we can address the things that have happened in the past that have created harm.
Got it. Okay.
And I'm curious, you said that there were other places you looked to around the country. Like, who else is doing this work, and how do we make it more than just Colorado?
Yeah, I think we're starting to see a lot of cities getting involved, but like states that are leading the way. We're looking to California, New York. We've looked at cities as far as like St. Louis, and then to like education system institutions who are paving the way. And so Evanston, Illinois, where there is an actual reparation movement that is happening on the ground, the first in our country. And so we've been looking, learning, and then seeing like what is our best path forward. And so that's how we landed with Justice for Black Coloradans.
Nice. And so from an active standpoint, if people wanted to become active in this, like how can people help if they're listening right now? And then I'll have you guys repeat this again for anyone who's listening right now, but how can they get involved with something like this so they feel like they're a part of this movement?
Absolutely. So many ways. One, you can follow us on social media. I'm sure we can share our handles, Justice for Black Coloradans, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, or X. That's a great way to stay tuned and stay involved with what we're doing. You can tell someone about this work, right? We have been out in community for weeks and months talking about the importance of telling our history, knowing our history, and using data-driven approaches to racial equity. We love to tell that story. So please help us tell it. And if you have opportunities for us to come speak with you, we will be there. And then thirdly, we are fundraising for this effort, right? We are fundraising to pay for the cost of the study. And so shortly, if you go to our website, Justice for Black Coloradans, you will see a Donate Now button. We are trying to show the world how many people want this study to take place, want this bill to pass, and want this work to move forward. So contributions of any amount are a huge, huge support for us.
Very helpful. That's great.
And for your bill, like, who is helping you in the Senate? Who's sponsoring the bill?
Yeah, we have some amazing sponsors. James Coleman is our prime sponsor in the Senate. And in the House, we're working with Representative Leslie Herod and Representative Nikita Ricks.
Nice. That's some big people.
Absolutely. They're great.
And from an education standpoint, I noticed that it's one of the highlights here, access to quality education, for everyone, right? For our youth and whatnot. How does that play that part or that segment of it, education, the importance of it, and for the youth to understand what this means, the work that you're doing now?
Yeah, I think it's really important to note that we're taking a two-pronged approach. So we've got this policy that we're working on, this bill that's moving through the state legislature that will conduct the study. But at the same time, we said we can't stop. We know we have to move these initiatives forward and provide educational opportunities to Black Coloradans. The study that she conducted about 4 years ago revealed that there are 118,000 Black Coloradans that don't have any form of post-secondary credential, and about 50% of them identify as low income or live below the poverty line. And so we've activated over $20,000 in scholarships so far to Black Coloradans. And we have about another 10,000 that's in the pipeline to be distributed by the end of this cycle. And so those students who are having opportunities to access these educational opportunities, we believe they become our choir, right? We believe they become our story. Yeah. And they're demonstrating that, by having access to these various opportunities, you can transcend and you can move your life forward and create the existence that you want in this society.
Nice. That's beautiful. Okay, so let's play some music. We'll get back and talk to them. They're going to give you more. Hopefully you're feeling the vibe. SugaBear and LaMolly, good morning. It's Community Corner. We highlight people in and of the community, and we have very special guests here today, Sade Cooper, Javon, Brame, and Katherine Casey. They're with Justice for Black Coloradans. There's a bill that you guys are active on, SB 53, Senate Bill 53. Thank you for the abbreviation. Which there is a study that's going to be done about inequities and disparities faced by Black Coloradans and how we can make changes and reparations. We'll get to that. But the study and what it looks like, what exactly does that mean for the study and how that plays a part into the progression of what you guys are accomplishing?
Absolutely. The study is key. As we set out and started doing research, we learned, the Civil Rights Act and the anti-discrimination law that's in Colorado prevents the creation of race-based solutions. And it was meant to prevent discrimination, but it's also created this barrier where you can't implement race-based solutions. And so you actually have to prove that there's harm or that there's a problem before you can enact any type of solution to that problem. And so that's what this study does, right? It takes a very detailed look at all of the harms or the possible harms that have been created for Black Coloradans so that we can actually make a case for creating solutions.
Is that a difficult thing to prove? I mean, because if you live it, right, we know the proof is right here. I could tell you 100 stories right now. But what does that mean for the people who are on the outside? And like when you say I have to prove like the study, and so it's data, obviously there's that, but what else is there?
Yeah, so you can take a look at the data and the outcomes, right? But you can also take a look at the various policies that were implemented. You can take a look at the conditions. We know that several state officials in Colorado have been members of the Ku Klux Klan. And for years, for generations, they were enacting various policies at the state and local level that have negatively impacted Black Coloradans. So we're going to look at those things. But narrative is important. Counter-narrative is important. So even at our hearing, we had Mrs. Haynes, who talked about her marriage and how her and her husband were not allowed to have an interracial marriage, and it impacted her family for generations.
Got it.
Right? And so we're also going to document those narratives from a historical perspective to be able to show real-life experiences of Black people in Colorado and how their lives have been touched.
See, for a lot of you out there, this is history. Like, if you don't know, then you don't know. So we're putting that out there, this information for you to, I'm sure you could look it up. The Ku Klux Klan thing, like, I'm new to Denver for the most part, a year and a half now. I didn't know that. That's information, but how that affects us, especially if a Black person, in how we move forward. And before we move on, I just have to highlight redlining. Like, redlining and where Black people could live in this state is a real thing. Also, just as you consider, the way people are able to engage in the society, right? Like, it's crucial to take a look at these things. I love that. And Sade, I wanted to, because we mentioned the word reparation a little bit earlier, as Javon had explained earlier, but a lot of people think that means money. Like, right, when you hear that, like, we just want to give you money, but it's bigger than that.
Yeah. I think that's the misconception, is we're not just thinking about the dollar today, we're thinking about generational change. And for us, that means that, for instance, if a child or an adult can go to school for free forever, that is generational change. If I can walk into a bank and get a reduced interest rate, or if I'm an entrepreneur and I can get a forgivable loan, I think about, like, how are we creating generational change? And so the dollar today, yes, that's great, but is it going to have a long-lasting impact? And so that is the misconception. It is bigger than money. It is bigger than money. And we want to think about reparative capital the Colorado way. Yes, we have learned and looked and observed what's happening around the country, but I think we are in a unique situation and position to think about reparative capital the Colorado way.
I love that.
So this work you're doing is so important, and it is very specifically targeting certain group of Coloradans, right? And it needs to, because, when one rises, we all rise. But I'm curious, like, why is it important for there to be non-Black people involved in this struggle?
Yeah, absolutely. Allyship is incredibly important. Co-conspiracy is incredibly important. And what we know, right, is that this work needs to be Black-led, and that to move forward, we need people from all corners of this state, all parts of the Capitol building, to get behind it. To get behind it because it's the right work and it's necessary work, and because, to your point, when one group rises, we all rise, right? And I want to remind people that while the focus of the study is on the harm, the disparities that impacted Black Coloradans, the impacts on Black Coloradans make us all worse as a state. We all suffer when one suffers. And so for all those allies out there wanting to be part of this, we should do it because it's the right work. We should do it also because it's all of our work to bring our whole state forward.
Love that. What kind of I guess, I don't want to say backlash, but what issues have you faced with people with the work that you're doing? Are they talking about you? Are they sending you nasty emails? Are they, what are yeah, because I'm sure let's be real about some of the things that you're facing because you're doing this type of work.
I think there's always criticisms and challenges that come from this work, and what we've learned generationally is that we've got to work and fight through those things. I often think about, we were just talking last night when I was at Langston University, which is a historically Black university, they would always ask us, like, what are you willing to die for? Because when Dr. King was engaging in the civil rights movement and fighting for us, he knew that he could lose his life. And I think that we're engaged in similar work, and Black people have always had to sacrifice their lives for conditions to become better for future Black people, and we have a responsibility to make sure that happens for the generations that come after us. Unfortunately, a lot of the votes on the bill have been along party lines, and we've seen the Democrats take a stand and stand for what's right, and we've seen the Republicans in some cases respectfully vote no because they don't believe in the path of this work. And so, I think it's important that we continue moving forward with the support that we have. There will always be naysayers and those that try to detract from your work, but we're going to keep moving forward.
The ones who support.
Absolutely.
You focus on that. Okay, before we get out of here, Sade, I want you to give a closing. Wrap this up in a bow. How the people that are listening right now, what's the words that you would give to them, how they can become active, and the importance of what the work is that you're putting in place?
Yes. Well, thank you for allowing us to have this opportunity to come speak on it. I think in closing, I want people to sit with their morality, right? And so that this shouldn't be a question. If we are trying to rectify and right the wrongs in the past, your morality should say this is the right thing to do. Second, in closing, this doesn't move without conversations, without the support. And so I am encouraging people to say, do you know what Justice for Black Coloradans is? That is where we need to start the conversation to get people to be inquisitive or inquiry of like, what is it and how can I help? I also want to say that this is not one person's fight. This is all of our fight. Again, this is not one person's fight. This is all of our fight. And so that we all can win. And as Martin Luther King said in his famous I Have a Dream speech, let us bring justice to all of God's children. He wasn't ignoring the Black folks' fight. He was acknowledging that this is all of our fights. And so with that said, please follow Justice for Black Coloradans for more information. Take our engagement survey if you are looking to get involved. That is found on our website.
Okay, what's the website, by the way?
It is www.justiceforblackcoloradans.com.
We are. Okay, this has been a treat. Thank you so much for anybody. If you need information, if you missed it, tell your friends about it, okay? 303-893-DROP. Sade Cooper, Javon Brame, Katherine Casey, Justice for Black Coloradans. Get involved. We'll give you the information, but I cannot thank you enough for the work that you're doing. This is amazing. Thank you. And you always have a platform here. This is what we do.